Hey guys, welcome to episode 23. This is Loansanddrones, and today we have the queen of real estate in Naperville, Alice Chin. And I say queen because she is a top producer. She's got, if you don't know Alice Chin and you're living in Naperville, you're kind of living under a rock. So she is one of those people that we are excited to have on the show. So with that being said, let's get right into it. Alice, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks so much for having me.
How are you?
I'm good.
I don't think we bumped into each other at like DuPage Real Producers, and
yes.
I've actually helped with some drone stuff that we were just talking about. Mm-hmm. So let's just kind of rewind. How did you get into the world of real estate?
So the short version of the story is I graduated college and then I majored in finance. I thought, okay, I want to do something in corporate finance. So I did that for about a year and a half, almost 2 years, and I just thought to myself, there's no way I can do this for another 40 plus years. Every morning, the highlight of my day was what I was going to eat for breakfast, my morning pastry, and then it went downhill from there. So basically, I knew that this was just a giant no-go for me for the rest of my career. So then I set out to find what I thought I could find more fulfilling, right, in a career. And one of the things that I thought looked really easy was real estate. And I said, I can do that. Anybody can do that, right? And I'll make buku bucks. I'll make a lot of money. And I never have to work. It's flexible, right? So then I signed up for a class. And it was a night class. I remember it was Tuesdays and Thursdays from 6:30 to 9:30 p.m., okay? And so I would go to work during the day, work my corporate job, then take the course. And the agreement with my then boyfriend at the time, he's now my husband, was, hey, I will get my license, I'll pass the exam, I'll get a couple of deals under my belt, and then I'll quit my job, right? So one day, I just couldn't take it anymore. So I quit my job. Yeah. There was no plan. I just quit my job.
Right.
Called him from the train. And he was like, why are you calling me? It's 2:00 in the afternoon. And I said, oh, well, you see, I quit today. And he said, you did what? And he's like, how are we going to pay our bills? We have bills, we have a mortgage, we have utility, like what? And I said, I'll figure it out. It's fine. I'll make it work. And he went, alrighty then. And that's it. The rest is history. Yep.
Wow.
Yep.
Okay. So obviously it was easy and you just crushed it right out of the gates, right? Okay, perfect. Awesome. So how was the first year in real estate for you?
It was really rough. So to be honest, yes. When I first started, I was very naive. I thought it was easy, right? And I remember I started Memorial Day weekend and I thought my phone's going to ring off the hook. Everybody's going to call me. And surprisingly, nobody called me that first weekend. Okay, so then Tuesday came around because it was Memorial Day, right? So Tuesday came around and I thought, well, you know what? Shoot, I really have to work, right? What can I do to generate business? And so nobody trusted me in my sphere. Everybody thought I looked like I was 12. So, and I obviously had no experience because I was new. So they thought, no, I'm not going to work with you. So then I had to hit the ground running, and I started making outbound calls. So I started cold calling.
Okay.
So at the time, for sale by owners, cancel expireds, and the tech didn't exist back then. So there were no lists. There was no AI. There was nothing of that sort. So I physically had to drive around and jot down phone numbers from signs in the yard for sale by owners.
Wow.
And then so I would do that in the morning, drive around all around town, grab the phone numbers, and then afternoon I would pound the phones. Yeah.
Really?
Mm-hmm. So my first two clients were actually sellers. They were not buyers.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Wow. Okay. So what was the immediate response? Like, do you remember the first deal that you got, like the first listing
I do.
from that?
Yes.
What was that like?
It was amazing because they knew I was new, and they said, you know what, we know you're new, you don't have a lot of experience, but guess what? We like your energy. We know that 100% of your attention is going to go towards us, so we're going to take a chance on you. And I just said, thank you very much. I'm not going to screw this up, and I really appreciate the opportunity, and that was it.
Wow. So what did you do? Like, when you get that opportunity, and this is something that new agents can listen to, Like, what was your first approach to that listing? How did you sell it? Like, what was your format?
So I basically thought, what would I want if I was a seller, right? Especially if I'm signing up, taking a huge risk with a brand new spanking agent. And I said, you know what? I would want a written plan, very detailed. And so I got working on that right away. This is my promise to you. These are the action points. This is going to be your specific marketing plan. And I mean, it was just me. It was the Alice show. I had no assistants. I had no staff. I had no team, right? And so that was the only listing I had. So all of my energy, every ounce, every minute of every hour of the day was spent on thinking about how I could maximize the marketing, how I can get their home sold. And it was very much one-on-one, obviously top of the line attention.
Right, customized.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So did you do open houses?
I did. Okay. I did open houses. I called them practically every day, They probably were annoyed of me and got sick of me, but even if I didn't have an update, it was like, okay, it's me again. I just wanted to kind of let you know this is what I'm seeing in the market, anything to just kind of keep them engaged.
Right.
It was a different market at that time, right? It was more, it was a hot market because it was before the market tanked. It was 2005.
I was just going to ask, what year was that?
It was 2005, yeah. So it was when I got my first two listings. I started in Memorial Day weekend. My first two listings I got later in the summer.
Okay.
So it was like August, I would say. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So that first year, what was volume looking like for you?
It was really bad. It was pretty abysmal. I think I did probably 7 deals the first calendar year. Yeah.
Still some deals, though.
It was okay. Yeah.
Okay. All right. And then where was the pivot? Like, when did Alice become? Was it like the next year? Was it like
it took some time.
Yeah?
And that's what people think. People see that like, oh, it like happened really fast. When it actually didn't. So the following year was good. I increased my volume in units and I kept working harder. And then it was 2 years later, so 2007, when I started noticing other agents in the office having like a part-time assistant, a part-time admin, right? Or full-time, right? And I saw that and I thought, you know what? I don't really need help right now, but I don't know what I don't know.
Right.
And so then I thought I could probably make better use of my time if I did have some help, And so then I was very scared again because I was thinking to myself, how am I going to pay this person? Right.
Yeah.
And I thought I can't afford somebody full time. And so I was fortunate enough, I found somebody part-time, very part-time.
Yeah.
So she started working for me maybe only 10 hours a week, very, very part-time. Doing a lot of marketing tasks, running around, dropping off flyers, copying keys for listings, things like that. And then it quickly snowballed to then 15 hours. And then that quickly snowballed to 20, and it kind of, that's really what I felt kind of catapulted me to that next stage. Is just recognizing that I can't do it all. There's not enough time in the day.
Right.
And that my time is actually better utilized. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
Doing other things.
That's kind of where we're at right now. We mentioned this offline, that we're building a team and you have to have that. Otherwise, you're going to burn out. I mean, did you feel 100%. Like at the beginning, like you weren't, I think what I'm hearing is you were expecting that there was going to be volume that was going to improve and increase, but you weren't already getting burned out. I think some agents right now, they're trying to do the volume that you're doing, but they're getting burned out within 4 or 5 months, and they don't want to work in the field anymore.
Correct.
So,
yeah.
The suggestion that you're making is you have to have help.
You have to do it. You actually have to do it before you need it, because once you need it, it's already way too late.
Good point.
Yeah.
Good point. Okay. So, what was volume at that point when you did have that? What did it turn out to be? Did it double, 2 times, 3 times?
Yeah. Okay. So I went pretty quickly to about 7-8 million for a calendar year when I still had just one part-time administrative staff, and then she became full-time, and then it became too much work for her, for one person.
Right.
So it kind of then. I knew that once things started falling back in my lap, then it's just too much work, right?
Got it.
So then I had to hire a second And then the same thing happened where I was very hesitant. And the second one, I was lucky. I hired her sister.
Okay.
And then she started also very part-time, right? And then kind of filled in the gaps. And then also that position grew as needed. Yeah.
Okay. So before hiring on any producers, you built a support staff below it.
Yes, I did. Yeah.
Okay.
So, and then after that, sometime in between the second admin becoming full-time, truly, that's when I started interviewing and hire for an agent on the team. Yeah.
How does that work?
So, yeah, I
got
got really
road.
lucky. Yeah.
Really?
So I think I got really lucky because the first agent that I added, we're still friends to this day. And she was introduced to me actually by my managing broker at the time.
Okay.
She had approached the managing broker and said, hey, I want to join a team. I don't want to do my own thing. I know what I like, don't like. Do you have any suggestions? And so the managing broker introduced her to a couple of different people in the office. And her and I just really hit it off. Yeah.
Good. And then, so she's no longer on your team?
She's no longer, we're still friends. She was on the team for 7 years. It was a long time. Yeah. She's actually not even in the business anymore.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Yeah, the last gentleman we had, he was talking about somebody that was mentoring him. And I think one of the tough parts when you are growing a team is that when you have somebody that is a producer, do you let them leave or do you try to keep them on the team, or how does that even work, you know? So,
yeah, so I feel like it always has to be a mutually beneficial relationship. And so the agents that we have now, I call it like a codependent, interdependent, you know?
Yeah.
So they need us, we need them. And it really blends well together, but I don't force it. I mean, obviously I don't force anybody to be on the team. They
Right.
have to want to be there and be happy. I want them to be happy, genuinely.
Right.
And vice versa.
Yeah.
It has to be good for the team and productive. And so if anybody wants to leave, they can definitely leave. And our policy is they take their database in their sphere, you know, that they came in with. And then it's kind of like a amicable divorce is what I call it, right? And then we keep, I mean, obviously they shouldn't take any of our stuff, right?
Right.
The team stuff.
Right.
So, and then we kind of just go our separate ways amicably. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Wow. Yeah. So how many agents do you have in your team now?
Besides myself, there are 3 other full-time agents, and they've all been with me, with the exception of the newest one, for almost 5 years now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And do you see yourself growing more, or what? Are you content with just the amount of people that you have, or?
Well, we are content in a way, but our stance and our saying is always, we always have room for the right people. So we're not looking for anything too complicated. You know, we're looking for people who are willing to learn. We're looking for people who are service-oriented, humble, most of all. As a team, we are very modest and humble, like I would say. Yeah. And then just hard workers. That's really it. Yeah.
Right.
So we don't waste time. Not that I think people, you know, successful agents really do, but we try to make the most out of every minute of every day, genuinely.
Right. I like that. What's your model now compared to what it was? How has it evolved into, you know, your team that you have now?
Yeah, so we kind of went through this evolution, started as a solo agent, right? Added the admins, as I talked about, added some agents, and then we ballooned, probably, and not in a good way, we ballooned to a maximum, I think, we were at 12 or 13 team members.
Wow.
At one point. I think it was maybe 2018.
Yeah.
And then, to be honest, we crashed and burned. We
Really?
did not have the right people.
Okay.
Yeah. It was a little bit of a toxic environment, to be honest.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And then we just didn't have the right mix of people, didn't have the right personalities, you know. And then it was about 5 years ago when I started over, essentially. Everybody either left or, you know, got dismissed, you know, laid off, fired, whatever you want to call it. It was about 5 years ago. Yeah. And then this team that I have now, they've all, like I said, they've all been with me for almost 5 years as a unit. So it's probably the best team that I've built, in almost 20 years.
So that's amazing to hear. So you grew it to the point where you're like, whoa, what is going on? So you had a reset. Is that when you shifted and said, I'm going to go over to Compass? Or is that at the same time, or was it kind of...
It was, no, I think the reset was the year before, actually. Okay. So I went over to Compass, unbeknownst to me, right when the shutdown happened during COVID.
Oh,
that was not planned, yeah. But the reset happened the summer before, yeah.
Okay.
So it was quite a shock. I remember there was a period of time when I was by myself, essentially, well, with that one agent that had been with me for a long time.
Right.
But it was just the two of us. And we had one virtual assistant, thank goodness, okay, that was helping just keep the boat afloat for the time being.
Right.
But I was in the office probably 15-hour days, for a stretch of, it was about a month, I thought my husband was going to divorce me. Like, he was like, he knew. He was like, I know what you're going through right now. So we're just going to get through this time period. Because I was doing everything. I was doing all the admin work, all the sales work, everything really. The only thing I wasn't doing 100% of was showing buyers because the other agent was helping with that, right? But interviewing, because all the positions were open, right? Sifting through resumes. I mean, it was... I tell my current team that was the dark time. Like, we don't talk about it.
And I think, honestly, I think that's, like, to show the success that you've been through and where you're at. I think that's required at times.
It is.
Right? You have to go through the dark times so that you can find that harmony. That's kind of where I'm at right now. I went through last 3 or 4 years just by myself with one assistant.
There you go. Yeah.
And she, like, to be honest, we just hired on a new assistant, and her attitude has completely changed because she was carrying a heavy weight too.
Yeah.
It just, you see the weight of your team, and you have to reset. You have to pull back and go, okay, let's reset
re-examine everything.
Yeah, because in your world as well as my world, and I have the utmost respect for real estate agents because you guys are out there spending way more time than a loan officer that's behind a computer at times, right? So your time is very valuable, and you have to make sure that you use it accordingly too. So I can see people getting burned out so much faster in the real estate world than the loan world, but at the same time, I felt it too.
Absolutely.
You know, so how is Compass? Like, what made the decision to go to Compass?
Yeah, I think I was getting to that point, like you said, like kind of actually getting a little burned out, you know, especially after the reset. Even though I did hire new team members, I just was feeling a little bit frazzled, like stretched, right? Like, go do this, teach this class, be over here, right? And I just felt like I needed to recenter myself a little bit and really just have less of the noise, if that makes sense, and really just focus on what I'm supposed to be doing, right? Selling real estate.
Right.
So I think Compass came at a time where they really didn't exist in the Chicagoland area except for in the city, and they were just starting to venture out into the suburbs. So it intrigued me. And I went to a tech demo, actually, a personal tech demo, where they showed me all the platforms in Compass's tech, and that really blew me away, the tech. And then just every agent that I had met that was already there, just super professional, and still to this day,
right,
you know,
right.
Just a different level of professionalism, I felt. And then there was also, to be honest, some familiarity with it, because I don't know if you know this, Bill, but a lot of the managers, mid-level managers, higher execs even, they originally worked at Coldwell Banker or NRT, you know, when I was at Coldwell Banker.
Okay.
And so then I found out that a lot of them actually came over to Compass. And it just made me feel like, you know what, I think this is where I'm supposed to be. It made me feel like it was home. Yeah.
Good.
So then, I made the switch, and they've still, I mean, they surprise me in a good way every day, actually. Their tech is always evolving. It works. I mean, they think of new things all the time to support the agent. They're very, very agent-centric. Mm-hmm. And I like it. Their communication is top-notch. You know, I don't feel like I'm getting lost in the shuffle.
Right.
Yeah, it's just very on top of things.
Yeah, there's something to be said when you have a platform, and then there's two parts, I think, when people look at different companies. There's the platform, and then there's the culture. And so you nailed it. Like, you have the professionalism, and then you have the tech.
Yeah.
and that just works for you.
It just
so
works.
That's good.
Yeah.
I want to rewind a little bit.
Sure.
You said I centered myself.
Yes.
What types of things did you do to center yourself?
Yes. So back then, after I got through the very dark time and stressful period, I kind of did a reset as far as, okay, what do I actually want, right? So I started just working out more, eating healthy, being very, very mindful about a lot of things. And then I had 2 very young children at the time. They're older now, but at the time I was like, you know what, this time, I'm never going to get this time back.
Right.
I really need to just capture this and really make the most of it. So that helped me a lot as well as to centering myself. Yeah.
That's where I'm at right now. That's the reason why I brought it up, because like I said, I came out of a pretty heavy time of loans, so I have to reset my own self. And that's what I love about these conversations we have on the episodes, because I always learn something new, and I always learn from other people. So when I have you on, I'm like, and you're saying you're sending yourself, it's exactly where I'm at right now, but I'm a little bit behind that, like behind where you're at.
You'll get there.
As far as, well, thank you. I appreciate it. So I've actually tried to get back into the world of exercise and running again. I mean, I don't know if I told you this, but I did Ironman for like a few years.
That's amazing.
I'm like one of those guys that does all or nothing. Like if I do it, I'm kind of scared about going into the exercise piece.
Again? Yeah.
Yeah, because I don't want to lose my family because I get
Yes.
into something else.
You
You
get
know?
into a mental mode. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm trying to balance that, and that's the hard part about our worlds is that you're always on with real estate and lending.
Yes.
You have to be, otherwise you won't be in the business for
You
long,
won't.
right?
Yeah.
So when you balance, what does your day look like?
So it's interesting you asked that. The last couple months have been a struggle for me because my mother-in-law, who usually watches my kids and picks them up from school, she's been out of the country. She actually came back last night.
Oh, wow.
So good for me. Yay for
Yes.
me.
Yeah, right.
So on the last couple months, I have been on parental pickup duty after school, take them to their activities. And it's funny you say that, Bill, because the last couple of months have really made me appreciate everything that she does.
Yeah.
Because when your day, is truncated every single day, you just can't really get anything done. And I remember saying to my husband the other day, just kind of lamenting a little bit, like real estate doesn't sleep, and if I'm in a sales role, right? And if I don't respond in a timely manner, I could lose a deal. I could lose a potential client. I could lose, And so I said, unfortunately, when a 3-hour block in the day is not available, that's a huge handicap. It's a huge detriment, And I just I don't know if I really realized that before,
Yeah.
So, but typically when she's here, my day it starts very early. I wake up at 4:20.
4:20.
Yes.
Why the 20? Why not 4?
Because I take advantage, and my entire team knows this and makes fun of me for it. I take advantage of every single moment and minute down to the wire.
Really?
It's because I have to be at an Orange Theory class at 4:55 in
Okay.
the morning. Okay.
Got it.
So I calculate how much time it's going to take me to get up, brush my teeth, get dressed, drive to the Orange Theory,
Yeah.
So, 4:20 is the time that I must get up. Otherwise, I will not make it in time. Yeah.
Well, I mean, that 20 extra minutes, I'm always thinking that. Like, I can get 20 extra minutes, I'm good.
Exactly. So I go work out very early in the morning, and then I come home, get ready, shower, help the kids get ready for their day. And then I usually am at the office by about 7:15, 7:30.
Wow.
Get coffee.
Okay.
I like that time because it's quiet. I can go
Right.
through my 100 emails or whatever it is that's accumulated. And then kind of just get my mindset for the day of my to-do list. I'm a list person.
Okay.
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 So I write everything down. This is what I'm going to do. I time block my day if it hasn't been already time blocked out. And basically, I try to make calls in the mornings, and then in the afternoons, I typically try to reserve it for appointments, in-person appointments. And
Got
meetings.
it.
Yep.
And then how does the evening look?
The evening is, I get home. I'm very fortunate again. My husband is actually the one that cooks, not me. Yeah.
Wow.
So he usually has some sort of plan for dinner, and then we have dinner as a family, and then after that, then I sit actually next to my daughter. She's working on homework or whatever she's working on, and then I'm on the laptop, and I kind of just get caught up on things if I've missed anything. Yeah.
So you get up at 4:20.
Yep.
And then, but how early do you go to bed?
Pretty early.
Really?
I try to be in bed, yeah. So I try to be in bed no later, like 10 o'clock is like when I turn into a pumpkin, is what I tell people. So try to get in bed, even though I'm not asleep, by 10 o'clock, no later. And then if I'm putzing around or playing a game or whatever, Candy Crush, for a couple of minutes.
Nice.
That's something different. But usually I try to be in bed by then, yeah.
Okay. So, yeah, I mean, so you're saying the way to success, well, maybe not the way to success, but I think that so many people struggle with getting up early. Yeah. You have to control the day if you want to be in a success.
You really do. Because the number of days in which I have been able to get so much done, even within the first, I don't even know, 2 hours of my day. I mean, people are just starting their days like when I've already accomplished like 5 things.
Wow.
And check them off. So I feel that, and it's quiet. That's the other thing. It's quiet. There's not a lot of distractions. There's not a lot of people banging down your door at 7 a.m. I mean, really.
Right, yeah. Except maybe some of those clients. I've had a couple.
Yeah.
We've all had a couple, right? No offense to you people that do that, but I've had people like at 1 a.m. also text me and call me.
Yeah, no.
You'll have that.
My clients know that, actually, I had somebody last night say to me, I'm texting you right now, Alice, but I know you're an early morning person, so get back to me, 6 a.m. tomorrow or whatever. So I saw it at 4 a.m.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'll get to you at 6 a.m.
6 a.m. Perfect. Yeah, the person that texted me at 1 a.m.
Was I got back. Night owl? Or?
Yeah, well, I didn't see it.
Oh, well, yeah.
But
I hope you were asleep by then.
I know, right?
No?
Well, I mean, that's why I'm asking the question, because I need to get, this year was the word of the year was consistency. And because of the change of the company and so forth, it's been kind of off. Yeah. So I'm listening and learning from you, by the way, just so you know. I'm
glad.
Yeah, I'm going to try to get up. I've heard a lot of people say that I want to do the 5 a.m. So that's kind of what I thought of it today, because I got a little off.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go back and see if I can do the 5 a.m. start date. Start time. Yeah, it's time. So
you'll love it, I promise. Once you get into a habit and a groove,
I used to do it for Ironman, and the problem is I think the problem is I was so in depth with the hard training that I was wearing myself out at 3. Oh. So maybe what I'll try to do is just a small little workout.
Just small.
Baby steps.
You don't have to go all, no.
Well, you do Orange Theory. Do you like Orange Theory?
I love it.
Really?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, how long have you been doing that for?
A long time, actually. I started when my daughter was only a year old.
Okay.
And then I took a break. You know, I had kids, and then I took some breaks. But then I got back into it probably about 5 years ago again, 4 or 5 years ago.
Okay. Okay. So. One of the other questions I want to ask you too, this is kind of off the real estate stuff, but you did the Spartan.
I did, yes. Yeah.
What made you do that?
So my husband is actually really into obstacle course racing.
Really?
He got into it probably about 4 or 5 years ago.
Okay.
And I started training with him in the beginning, and then I got pregnant with our son. So then I kind of just stopped, put it on hold. And then about 2 years ago, he was still really into it, but he had advanced far beyond what, I could do.
Yeah.
And I thought, you know what, I want to get back into it. And I made it a goal. I wanted to do what they call a trifecta, which is one of each type of race. So it's the sprint, the super, and then the beast. So it's a different distance and a different number of obstacles. So the sprint is the easiest, is the shortest, and then you graduate to the super and then the beast. You can do them in any order. And then the trifecta is you put the medals together, and you have to do all 3, doesn't matter the location, within a calendar year. So that was my goal. The first year that I attempted it, I failed because I really badly. I still think I broke my ankle, but the foot doctor said it was just a really bad sprain.
Yeah.
So it was literally a week before I was set to run the final race.
Wow.
So then I couldn't run it.
Gosh.
Yeah.
Okay.
So then I had to shelve it and deal with that, the emotions and everything, that the disappointment and all that. And then the following year, I finally did it. Yeah. So,
Nice.
Yeah.
So what are the distances of that? 'Cause I have no idea. Like it reminds me of like the triathlon stuff because there's a sprint, Olympic, and then you get into the Ironman stuff.
So they tell it to you in kilometers, but I never remember the kilometers.
Right.
I remember the mileage. So it's basically the sprint is a 5K is what I definitely remember that.
Okay.
Then the super is anywhere from, and this is why it gets nebulous too.
Yeah.
It depends on, because every super and every race is different.
Right.
Like the distance. It could just be like a smidge difference. So they tell you it's anywhere between 7 and 10 miles, but with 26 obstacles or however many.
So you don't really know? Like,
you don't really know until you're like actually running it. Yeah.
Really?
So in order to train, you have to then train your body up to at least, the maximum, because otherwise then you're going to gas out, right?
Yeah.
And then the beast is, I want to say, anywhere between 11 and 13 miles. Yeah.
Wow.
And then it's with like an insane number of obstacles, like maybe 30, 35, something like that.
What's the hardest obstacle?
I would say there's a lot of them. There's a lot of hard obstacles. There's one that's called Mount Olympus. Sounds terrible, right? Yeah. And there's certain ones where I'm like, and you can get assistance, but I've never run this. I'm not that good. I'm not even close. But if you ever decide to run the pro series, right, like the competitive side, you can't get assistance. You have to do all the obstacles on your own.
Okay.
And some of the obstacles, like I look at them and I'm like, that's really dangerous. Like you could kill yourself, sort of dangerous.
Oh, dangerous.
And
not like spraining your ankle. Like
no,
okay.
Like you could die. Yeah, like if you slip and fall, like there's. I don't mean to scare you.
No,
but
yeah. I mean,
I remember thinking,
it gives me so much more respect for you. That's that's where I'm going with this. I'm like crazy.
I remember thinking there was one I did. What was it? The Seattle Beast. Okay, and my sister was there and my husband, and we were running it together. And I remember thinking there was an ambulance to pick somebody else up, and it was before I got to this obstacle, and the obstacle was. You had to do a rope climb, and it must have been, the rope climb I don't even know. It must have been like 4 stories high. And there was there's padding, but it's like straw and like basic. So like if you slip or if you lose the grip of the rope, there's no net,
Yeah, it's not like,
No.
Okay, no padding.
No.
Okay.
So I remember thinking like, I get up like halfway up the rope and I'm like, doing like I'm gonna die.
Oh God.
And I'm like, just don't look down, just keep going and then like come down safely, right? So thankfully, obviously I didn't die, but
right.
I mean a lot of their obstacles are pretty risky.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I don't know if I'll be doing that.
Okay.
But I will live vicariously through what you've done. Okay?
Sounds good. Good. Good plan.
Well, so now we're at the part of the episode where we just ask random questions.
Sure.
Okay. So what's the best piece of advice that anybody's ever given you?
Oh, I would say the best piece of advice would be my original managing broker when she basically said, let everything roll off your back, because I was very emotional in the beginning,
Really?
I would cry or get upset if somebody was like, no, I don't want to work with you, or no, like every little thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very touchy.
I was like that too.
Yeah. Oh, really?
I'm getting further and further away from it.
Agreed.
But
Same. Yeah. And so she said, Alice, you only need to know one word in this business, and that word is next.
Really? Very bold and simple, but that's exactly.
Just keep it simple.
I love it. I love it. That's awesome. Next. Okay, so very simple question. Yeah. What's your favorite food?
Oh, I have so many. That's really hard. I would say my favorite is probably sushi. I would
sushi?
Say. Yes. Mm-hmm.
You got any shout out to any great sushi places?
Yes. So there's a place in downtown Naperville, of course. It's a very local. It's called Akai.
Okay.
And they have truly the best sushi.
Oh
I think
gosh.
they get their fish fresh like every day.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm definitely gonna go there.
You should try it.
So you know I used to live in Naperville, right?
Yes,
So
yes.
lived there for 20 years, and I miss it. Like we're in St. Charles.
Yeah.
I know. Yeah, I'll give you a call.
Yeah.
But I love going back there. It's like a mini Chicago, you know?
Yeah,
and
it's
they
really nice.
just the places that are there are amazing. But I'm gonna definitely try that
Just
because
try it. Yeah.
actually we're going on a date night tonight, so maybe that's a good. Maybe we'll do that. Yeah. We'll shift.
I would call though.
Call?
It's small. It's a small like hole in the wall place.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, I would
Okay.
call and make sure that you get a table and all that.
Okay. If you could be anywhere today,
Yeah.
besides this amazing podcast, just kidding. Where would you be, like travel wise?
Oh, there's a couple of places. I would say either Australia.
Really?
Yeah.
Have you ever been there?
No. That's
No.
the thing. Yeah.
Okay.
Australia, New Zealand, that area. Or I would say Greece. Those
Greece.
are two places I've never been. Yeah.
Never been. I really want to go to Greece, and so I'm turning. I hate to even say this every time, but Chris, what are you looking at? Anyways, so 50 years old. This is the
No,
yes.
you're not 50.
I know. Thank you. Appreciate it. So I want to go somewhere, and so Greece and Australia would be great too.
Yeah. It's a very long plane ride though, so
That's the
you gotta
thing.
mentally prep for that.
And my wife Laura said we cannot go too far because we have a 1-year-old and a 5-year-old.
Yes,
right?
until
So-
they
right. Otherwise, we take them.
Yes.
So, but it would be nice to be. But Greece would be one of those places I'd love to go. Thank you so much for joining us. We
you.
definitely need to do this again because I'm
Agreed.
sure there's plenty of stuff, especially with the world we live in, that's always evolving.
Yes.
How can people find you if they wanted to get a hold of you?
Well, they could go to our website. It's really easy, just alicechin.com. They could come visit our office in downtown Naperville.
Which you have an amazing office,
Thank
by the
you.
way.
Thank
So,
you. We love it there. We're very, very fortunate.
What's the address of the
It's
office?
235 West Jefferson Avenue, Naperville. Right across from the library. That's very easy to
Awesome.
find. Yeah.
Awesome.
Or just call us. Call the office.
Okay, great. Well, thank you so much, and we will see you again soon.
Very
and
soon, yes.
if there's any need for Naperville real estate, Alice Chin is your person. Like I said, she's the queen of Naperville.
Thanks so much, Bill.
Awesome.